Okay, everyone, it's time to start. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to Learnifier Live, our customer event. And I hope you're having a good morning, but also maybe a good day or afternoon or evening, depending on where in the world that you are. And this is an event for you, our customers, to get updated on some of the latest releases and also what's coming up ahead at Learnifier. My name is Rebecca, and I work here as a digital marketing manager, which among other things means sending you a lot of emails and event invitations. And I will soon hand over the word to my talented colleagues. But first, I just want to say that feel free to write questions in the chat during this webinar. And we have some Learnifiers here that can reply and answer them. And also, we will be recording this. So if you want to watch some parts again, or if you want to share it with others, you will be able to do so. We have 45 minutes and let's have a quick look at the agenda for today. Our morning will begin with a few words from our CEO and co-founder, Mattias. After that, it is time to take the pulse when our cat-loving CTO and co-founder, Jerker, takes the digital stage and summarizes some of the new product features we have been developing. Then we will dive a little deeper into some of these functions. Our customer support hero, Esther, will talk about something called re-enrollment. And then our senior engineer, Magnus, will be talking about something that we call personalized content at the moment. And then we move into the future and look at what we are working on right now and why with Mattias. So without further ado, I will now hand over to our CEO and co-founder, Mattias Borg, coming to us live from his home office studio in Vasastan, Stockholm.
Thank you, Rebecca, and good morning to everyone. I'm excited to see so many people joining this early Wednesday morning here in Stockholm, at least, depending on where you are, obviously. So I will not talk very lengthily. I will make sure that we get into the hot topic for today, which is what we've been working on for the last couple of months. But I wanted to show a little bit of information. So one of the exciting things that we now have, you're now more than 300 companies that are using Learnifier, and this is obviously something that we are very excited about. And we are also growing our team. So I thought I would take a chance to not introduce all new colleagues, because I don't think that will be a good use of time today. But I think that if we could just switch on our cameras and maybe wave and say hello to everyone, because we're now a team of more than 30 people in the Learnifier team. And as mentioned, we're continually growing, adding more people to make sure that we can invest more in building a great product, making sure that we can service you even better. So kind of just want to communicate that we're continuing to make sure that we can support you in the future. And we, as mentioned, are 30 people now, and we're growing and expecting to be 50 people by the end of the year. So quite a lot of growth happening on this end to support you even better. Another thing I wanted to mention initially is that one of the most common questions we get from you, our customers, is how do other companies use Learnifier? And therefore, we've set up these events where we ask you, our clients, to share some of your learnings. And I know that last week, for example, we had Höganäs sharing their stories and their learning. And I know that tomorrow we also have a session with Salesonomics sharing their learnings on how they're using Learnifier. So I want to encourage you both to, if interested, participate in these sessions, because they are for you to learn from other companies using Learnifier. Not necessarily specific about Learnifier, but what value it gives to them and how they've been working, how they've organized, etc. If you haven't seen these in the past, you're interested, you can go to our YouTube channel and check out a few of the customer stories that we've already done. If you want to join tomorrow or for upcoming, just sign up. I think we can provide links in the follow-up emails going out to you. And also, if you are interested in sharing your story, which we would be very excited to hear, and I think other customers would be as well, please just reach out and we'll schedule a date and make sure that you can come on and share the story with other customers or other people, really. So that's it about customer stories, and please reach out, as mentioned, if you're interested. Before diving into and starting sharing what we've been working on, I quickly want to share, and especially for the ones of you that haven't participated in a previous Learnifier live event, I just want to quickly share this information. So when we do product development, we work in something we call pulses, and it's really a quarterly pulse, which means there's 4 pulses each year. So what we do during this event, obviously February 23rd, today, is sharing what we've done in Pulse 4. But it's also giving you a bit of an insight on what we will be working on in Pulse 5. So we have these events quarterly that you can attend to get kind of a high-level update on what we've been working on and what we will be working on. And as you might have experienced, we do releases more or less every day of minor features, but the idea is really to make it easier for you, and to be honest, to some degree for us also, to collect information and have these events where we share what we've been working on, because updates do happen to some level daily and regularly, but some of the larger things that we develop, we share and open access to during these live events. So with that said, we're obviously at the live event today, sharing what we've done in Pulse 4, and we will start with just that. So I want to hand it over to Jerker, our CTO, to share a bit about the things we have been working on during the last Pulse. So over to you, Jerker.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to talk about some of our features that we have been doing since last time. As Matthias mentioned, there is always development work going on, and we usually do small things all the time, but we're also doing some bigger things. And here are some of those highlights. As you might or might not know, we have a Learnifier app. The app is now available in 22 languages, which is the same as the Learnifier platform in itself for the learners. And also for those who are customers in the Swedish environment, we are now happy to announce that you can use the app as well. And to just add some extra information about the app, it's available for the learners in Learnifier, and it's there to simplify and enhance the experience for those who are taking courses on mobile devices. And of course, the app is available for Android and iOS. Also, for those who are working with a course catalog, we are happy to announce that we have a new permission for publishing. Previously, everyone that could configure how a project or a course should look in the course catalog also had the ability to publish things in the course catalog. For larger organizations, you want to control more who can publish things into the course catalog, as that is visible for your whole Learnifier instance. So now we have a separate permission for that, so you can control who actually can publish things to the course catalog and who are the ones that can configure what should be visible, what information should be visible about the course in the course catalog. Those two things are now separate, and those two are now separate permissions, which allows you to enhance the and separate those responsibilities. Of course, people can also have both permissions at the same time, which is just like it worked before we introduced this one. The public API continues to be very important for us because we know that many of you have integrations towards us, and it's important for us to be a good team player in the large technical world that most of you are living in. The public API, just repeating for those who don't know, that sort of an API is how one computer is the language on how one computer system talks to another computer systems. So if a developer reads on how the API works, they can then write code that makes two systems work, like Learnifier and an HR system. So what we have added is a bit of an advanced feature here as well, but a very welcome feature for those who are larger customers with complex integration scenarios. It could also be smaller customers as well, but those who have a larger integration scenario. And what happens here is that if you are a Learnifier user, a client to us, you might have several different integrations. And one way to separate those integrations coming from several places are into different clients or portals. And what you then sometimes want is that if we have users in one client, we want to attach some specific extra information that is useful for one integration to one client and some other information on another client. So this allows you to add sort of extra information on users, which is client or portal specific. Obviously, this can be a bit complicated to grasp if you're not having deep technical knowledge. So feel free, as always, to reach out to us for more details if this could be something that's useful for you. The last live event, we talked a bit about how we have taken the concept with diplomas and certificates further. We are now happy to announce that through the public API that we have, you can now also issue diplomas and certificates on users. So if you have external systems where people also are doing things in, you can do an integration and make a diploma or certificate appear in Learnifier when you have completed something in other systems. And this obviously opens up for a lot of exciting integration and learner opportunities. So we are happy about that. Also, as you might, as we are on the topic of diplomas and certificates, last time we showed you that we added a function that when you complete a course in Learnifier, you get a certificate or a diploma. That's nice. What we have added as a small thing, but still, now you can receive multiple diplomas and/or certificates when completing a course. Because sometimes you have like a larger introduction course to something, and after you have completed that course, you might actually be, the learner might be a candidate for multiple certificates. This course contained, for example, introduction to both dogs and cats. So you get a dog's diploma and a cat diploma. That's an example for a single course that is about household animals overall. Also, single sign-on, we have done some improvements there as well, both for the protocol that is called SAML and OpenID Connect, which are the two most common ways to connect different systems with single sign-on. We are now supporting something that is called identity provider initiated single sign-on. That's quite a mouthful. It's a concept that most security practitioners doesn't recommend anymore, but there are still a lot of systems that only work with that concept. So we still want to be a good team player, so it's easier for us to add this support rather than perhaps changing older legacy systems. More than this, there is always things going on. Security and compliance are important things for us, and performance and availability as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on underneath the surface that you might not see, but we are constantly trying to apply best practices around those areas so that you can feel confident in having courses on Learnifier. But these are the highlights. As usual, always feel free to reach out to our customer success team about questions, availability of features, and more things around this. They are true heroes when it comes to knowledge about these things. But enough with the bullet lists. I know you love to have some presentations as well. So we do have a few features that we actually want to show that is a bit more exciting and deserves more than just a bullet in a list. So I'm handing over to Esther, one of our customer success heroes, and she will show us one of the new features that we are happy to announce as well. So over to you, Esther.
Thank you, Jerker. Hi, everyone. So great to see you. My name is Esther, and you probably recognize me from our support. And today I've gotten the honor to present one of our new functions that I personally love. And I am talking about the re-enroll function that lets you re-enroll participants so that you don't have to delete them from a project in order to re-invite them. For example, you might have courses that participants have to retake every year. And now we have a function that you can just re-enroll them instead. And this function is available from Price Plan Professional. So we have developed this function as many of you use our diploma and certificate builder. And since a certificate can have an expiration date, we figured there should be some function that lets you re-enroll participants to courses. So as I said, you don't have to delete them from the project in order to re-invite them. So not only will this new function save you lots of time, but it will also give you an overview of the participants' previous attempts. And if you're not yet using our certificates function, we strongly recommend it, as it is a great way for you to make sure your participants are up to date with everything they need to know in order to perform their everyday work. I will now share my screen and show you how it works. So let's see here. And now you should be able to see my screen. As you can see, I'm currently logged in as an administrator, and I am placed in a course in the participant tab. If I scroll down, I can see my participant list, which is currently not that long. It's me and Hannah. And I can see that, for example, Hannah's certificate is expiring in about a month, just like mine. So if I want to re-enroll Hannah to this course so that she can renew her certificate, I simply just check her box here and I click on re-enroll, and this little message will appear saying that when I re-enroll a participant, everything they have uploaded and their answers to quizzes, etc., will be deleted, and she will be able to take the course again to renew her certificate. So if I click on re-enroll here, let's see. I can scroll down again and I can see that she is not started. But as you can see, for example, on my profile here, I have after the completed, I have the number 2, which means that I have a history of completing this course before. So if I click on this little, the history word, this will open and the information about when I last started the course and when I completed it before will be written here, which is great for you if you want to go back to see like how many times has the participant completed this course before. Is it the first time, or has she been doing this for many times before? So that is a little bit about that. And if I go to my profile, my user profile page here, I can actually re-enroll myself directly from this page as well. So if I scroll down, we have this little tab, participations, which states all the participations I have in different courses. This is the demo from re-enroll. I can see that my certificate is expiring on March 22nd, and I can simply re-enroll myself straight from here as well. So that is a little bit about our new re-enrollment function. Another great thing that we are actually working on is automating this process even more. We are creating a function that automatically lets the system re-enroll participants to courses without you even have to click on the button re-enroll. But that is all for me now. I will hand over the word to Matthias, and thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Exciting to see what's going on there. And as Esther mentioned, I will get back to, we're continuing working on this functionality to make it even more automated and easy to use. So with that said, we're gonna jump over to the next item that we've been working on, and that has to do with personalization. And today, specifically, we're gonna look at personalized content, which Magnus is gonna talk more about and actually give you a live demo of how that is working. But kind of the broader theme here is that today, when you take a course in Learnifier, the course is exactly the same for all participants. What we're looking at longer term is making it more personalized, so that different participants can have a different kind of experience depending on various things. Could be something in their profile, their history, etc. But the first step in that is providing new functionality to give access to personalized content. And that is what Magnus will tell you more about and show you more about today. So I will gladly hand this over to you, Magnus, and give us a bit of a demo on how this works.
Thank you, Matthias. We're going to talk about this new function called personalized content. This is only available for a few customers right now. We're sort of in a testing phase. I'm not sure who it will be available for in the future, if it's a certain price plans or not. But it's an area that we're very excited about, and you can expect a lot of more features coming later on in this area. So the idea with this function is that different students can see different content in the course. And a few examples of this, when this might be interesting, you probably have a lot of ideas of your own. But a few ideas we have is that maybe you want to test 2 different videos in a course and see if people like one more than the other, if it makes a difference on the final result, for instance. Perhaps you want to have different categories of employees to have specialized training, but still be in the same course, so you don't have to make a new course for each category of employees. And perhaps you want to split up a physical meeting in 2 groups or 2 locations. So let's take this activity as an example. This is a really boring activity and there's nothing special about it. But let's personalize this activity. We go to Administer Project. We need to go to edit course, activities. Let's see, there's the normal activity. So this is just a normal activity right now. I think there have been some changes made in the banner here too, but that doesn't concern this project. But there's a new button up to the right here called segment. This will not be shown unless you have this feature enabled on your Learnifier. But if you click this one, we get a new little modal that we call it to let us split this activity into multiple ones. There's some nice help me text here because this is a pretty advanced function, so you can read about it here. But let's see here. You can split this into any number of activities. So for now we have a normal activity. That's just one, what we call a segment. We were planning to use the name group, but we have used that so many times in Learnifier, so we thought it might be more confusing than another term. So we selected segments. But if I click the plus here, you can see that I split this into 3, 4, how many activities you want. You can delete stuff, back to 2. And if I go back to 1 again, it will revert to a plain old activity. But let's make 2 of those. We can rename them here. This is not the name that the student will see, but the name that the administrator will see. So if you want to keep track on what segment is what, so maybe this is for group A. This is group B. And when I hit save, nothing seems to have happened, but this button up here has changed appearance. So we now have this in 2 versions, group A and group B. If I switch between them, nothing seems to happen because they are identical at the moment, because we copied the one that we segment to start with. But if we go into group B, perhaps we can change some text. This is not the normal activity. We can add a new image so we see that something has happened. Let's use Unsplash to find some nice images. Let's see, let's search on segment. So nice segment image, perhaps. So now we have to split this activity split into 2 pieces. And if we go here to the first one, you can see that's the original one, and there's the new one. So before we start looking at what the actual student will see, or the learner will see from this, let's check in from the admin view. If I do a preview, you can see here that we have still the same sort of layout here. We have this unlock all activities. Sorry about the Swedish, I misconfigured my user. But if we select this normal activity, which is not normal anymore, you can see that we get a new button here. So the admin can actually select what he wants to see. So you can switch between them. Otherwise, it would be very hard to get an overview of what all the learners will see in the course. So let's publish this course to get it changed for the students. And if you go into the participants view now, you can see that we have 3 participants here, but we don't really know what segments they belong to. So we added a new button called Assign Segments. This will only show if you actually have a course with personalized content in it. If you click on it, we open up a pretty cool modal. I can't take any credit for this. This is our UX team who's done a fabulous job. To the left here, we can see how many segmented activities we have, how many personalized activities we have. Actually, I added 2 before this demo, just so it wouldn't be so empty. But here is our normal activity. We have something called videos and the final test. And we can see here, there's a lot of symbols and stuff. So lots of information if you dig into it. But if we select this one, you can see that we out here to the right have more information about these segments. So first, you can see that we are on group A here. You can see that Jerker and me are both in that group right now. And if we fold out to the right here, we can see that Matthias was placed in group B. People are actually placed randomly in these segments if you don't do anything else. So I think that's the most common way to use this system. Just make a segmented course and invite people, and they will be randomly placed in the different segments or groups. But if you want to change, perhaps I don't want to watch this boring normal activity, I'll leave Jerker there. So I take myself, mark myself there, and then I mark what segment I want to move myself to. Remember, this can be more than 2 segments. So I will show an example of that soon. And then I hit assign, I will be moved here. Here's an example of an activity with 3 segments. So we have an easy video, an intermediate video, and an advanced video. You can see that Matthias and me was somehow placed in the easy track. I think this might be Jerker. Yes, he was placed in the intermediate video track. So let's keep it like that. There's a lot of cool things going on here. We have some random assignments, so you can sort of re-randomize everything. Lots of help popping up. There's do and undo, unlimited, until you hit save or cancel, then everything is frozen. One more thing, if, for instance, Matthias would have watched this video, he would be grayed out, so we couldn't move him, because if, for instance, a user is taking a test, finished it or have finished it, and then we move him to a new segment with another test, I think that student would be pretty furious. So there is a way to still reassign people, but it's a bit more work to do it intentionally. Okay, let's see. We hit save, and we're back. Nothing seems to have happened here, but if I do go into one of these courses now, you can see that if I go to this normal activity, I didn't rename it out here, perhaps I should have. You can see that this is a new image. And if we go into the module 2 here, we can see that I have a video for easy track on encryption. And I have some final test, which is actually just some text. But we can just test to see what happens if we go in as Jerker, I think it was. He had a different assignments. So here we are viewing this as Jerker Klang. You can see that up here. Introduction is the same, of course. Normal activity, he got the boring one. And encryption, here he got the intermediate track. And as you may notice, the user, the student doesn't see that this is a segmented activity. And this is intentional from the customer who asked for this function, that it would be possible to not show that this other people may see other things in this course. So if you want people to know that, you need to write something in the title or in the description of the activity. All right, that was all from me. Thank you so much. Back to Matthias.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you for walking through that, and interesting to see. And I see that there's a number of questions, and I hope that you will get answers in the chat. So just briefly, as I mentioned, this is a start of working with personalized content and personalization. There's today, as Magnus showed, it can either be done automatically that you're assigned to segments, or you can do it manually. We are looking to add ways in the future to assign people to segment in different ways. We are very curious to hear from you what ways of putting people in segments you are interested in. So during this next period, we will be collecting a lot of that feedback and input from you who start using it, and understanding more about how you would want to segment people based on, for example, role, part of the organization, skills, background, etc., etc. I also saw I was asked when this is available. This is available to enterprise customers starting this week. Please reach out, or we will contact you if you want to start testing this, and we will enable it in your instance. So with that said, we will be switching gears a little bit and talk briefly about what will be coming and what we're working on in this Pulse. And as mentioned, what we do now is that we're releasing this today, but we're also at the same time ramping up new things that we're working on. And before going into those details, I just want to take a little bit step back and kind of share with you some of the ideas and how we develop, why we develop what we develop, and where that kind of fits in the larger picture. Because as you might have seen and heard us talk about before, our mission is making training and learning easy, engaging, and efficient. So really, it's about making it 10 times easier. So that has been the thing from the start. We want to make it possible, even though you're not like a professional, we want to make it easy for you to both create content, to administrate, but also as a participant to take part in digital training of some sort. We want to make it more engaging. Same thing there, 10 times more engaging and 10 times more efficient. So that's kind of our mission and what we're striving to accomplish. And what you'll hear us talking about, that each pulse we're not necessarily focused on one of these, but often we're trying to kind of move a big step ahead of at least one of these items. And for this coming pulse, which is then pulse number 5, we're going to focus a lot also on efficiency. And as you've probably seen, there's things that we're trying to make easy, because you need to do them, but there's also things that we want to make more efficient by automating them. And there's automation capabilities today already in Learnifier, but we're continuing to build on those automation features, because automation is really the pillar in our product strategy to help you be more efficient. So not only making it more easy, but actually making it automatically for you, so you don't have to do, for example, manual tedious tasks, rather have them happen automatically. So with that said, going into Pulse 5, we will focus, as mentioned, on efficiency by both doing automation, but also doing more around reusability, because that's also a core theme, how we seem that we can make you more efficient. For example, we have today our course templates, which makes it possible to set up quite complex learning journeys and courses with a few clicks. And we want to continue building functionality that makes it easier for you to provide great digital training and learning. So the Pulse 5 will end on the preliminary date is May 18th. Obviously, we will let you know and invite you to the coming live event. As we talked about, there is larger and smaller things that we're working on during a Pulse, but I want to share a few other things that we will be working on. And the first item on here is around reusability. So as I mentioned today, it's possible to do reuse of, for example, entire courses through using course templates. But we also want to take that down to the level of modules and activities in the courses. So what this means is that we're building out functionality to make it possible to reuse modules and activities across different courses. So it might be that you had a great intro activity that you want to reuse across 10 different courses. You don't want to have to rebuild it again, and that will now be possible. As you know today, or hopefully you know, you can today reuse parts content in an activity, but this will make the entire module and activity reusable. The next item we will also work on during this pulse is automating the process of, so if we have a participant that has completed course A, for example, it might be an introduction course, for example, it will now be possible to automatically re-enroll them into course B. So I'm just using this as an example. I complete course A, I will now be automatically enrolling course B. Obviously, that could then be that as you complete course B, you can then be automatically enrolling course C. So this is automating not only the initial enrollment, but actually a flow of enrollments where you can do multiple courses in a certain direction, and then as you complete them, you can just continue taking and getting access. So the thing here is really the automation of that. The last thing is connecting to what we presented earlier. So Esther talked about the re-enrollment functionality. It's been a lot of kind of heavy work on the back end to make that possible, to be able to restart and retake courses. Now that we've built that out, the idea is here to automate the entire certificate renewal process. So let's say that you have a certificate that expires in 12 months. The idea is then for the participant to be able to retake, for example, a course or whatever they need to do, and to automate that process. So you can automatically enroll someone into the same course or potentially a new course, so that they once again can take that and receive their certificate. So this is really about automating that renewal process to as large extent as possible. So I'm also quickly want to introduce one of our new colleagues on the team, which is Mona Jönsson. And Mona, you will be from now on the product manager leading this effort. So I thought it would be nice for you to maybe say hi to everyone, and probably you'll reach out and talk to customers. So over to you, Mona.
Thank you, Matthias. Hello, everybody. It's nice to meet you. I'm very excited to be part of the Learnifier team, and I'm looking forward to continuing a great partnership with all of you. It will be a fun travel. So great to meet you.
Great to have you on board, Mona. And as mentioned, you will now lead the product efforts together with me and the team. So I'm very excited about that. So with that said, we've shown you a bit about what we've been working on the last pulse, and also what we've been working on in this coming pulse. As always, we will send out the information, and you can also ask questions following the session and reaching out to us. With that said, I'll hand it back to you, Rebecca, to finish things off for today.
Thank you, Matthias, and also thank you everyone for participating today. We hope that you enjoyed this session. And as Matthias mentioned, we will be sending out an email summarizing some of these news, and we will also be sending out the recording. And if you have any questions regarding these functions or any other functions, feel free to just reach out to our customer success team and our support. And now, as we say here at Learnifier, thank you, and may the learning be with you.